What's up guys, Paul with Studpack. Welcome back to the channel. I've got a cool project for you today. We're in this garage and they need receptacles on this wall. When this house was built in the 90s, they only put one GFCI receptacle over there. It is now behind some cabinets, and that GFCI receptacle is actually protecting the receptacle in the ceiling where my tester's plugged in for the garage door opener, and one on the far wall that the irrigation system is plugged into. It is a 15 amp receptacle. It's a 15 amp breaker and it is number 14 wire. So we're gonna tie in all our stuff with number 14 wire also. I was thinking about running number 12 on the off chance that maybe the original electrician put in a 15 amp breaker instead of a 20, but the wiring is 14 all the way from the panel to this room. I don't see the point in upgrading to 12. Now we are going to use wire mold. I've run miles of the stuff and I love it. It looks a lot better than running exposed MC cable or EMT, and in my opinion it's easier than EMT. So the first thing we have to do today is get the 14 tube from that receptacle in the ceiling across the ceiling above the drywall, and we're going to poke out right here. Now there is living space above us, so I'm planning on there being insulation in there, and that's actually going to be the hardest part of the whole project. And I can get from that box to here without tearing out any drywall, and that's really the main reason we're running wire mold. I don't want to cut and patch and repaint drywall. It's going to look great. Let's get started.
All right, Paul's over at the panel. There we go. Yep, that's it, Paul. He just turned off the circuit. Now we can work up there. And now there's no line here, but not to worry. We have a light in the back, a little floodlight. All right.
Now that the power's all off, we're gonna remove this receptacle and see what's in the box. Love that guy.
That was fast.
Yep. So what we got two cables, right? So ground fault is behind me. They probably ran a cable up to here and then down to the one at the irrigation system over on your right. So I'm gonna get this out of my way. Yep. Try to open this box up at the top. We'll push a fish tape all the way across and pull a string all the way over. Okay guys, here's what I did. Got my screwdriver and I opened up the cable restraint right there. Just pried those little ears open. That's what it looks like when it was closed, and I just pried them open. We're gonna pull the cable from this direction. You can see I've got a rare earth magnet right here. It's on the drywall screw. There's another one there. So I know that my floor joists are running in this direction towards the wall where we want the receptacles. So I'm gonna get the fish tape in there, a metal fish tape with a hook on it, and try to push it to the outside wall. I say try because there may be some blocking in there.
You got this. No blocking. We're gonna bank on it.
All right, I put electrical tape on there because like I said, there's probably insulation in here, and when I pull this back, that hook will grab the insulation. All right, and then.
So far, so good. You can hear it out here.
You hear it?
Yep, you can hear it way over here. Come on, fish tape.
Hitting something right there. I really didn't want to run wire mold up the ceiling and over here. I don't have enough anyway. There is a bathroom above us, but that sounds like a block to me. Okay, gotta regroup, guys. We could take this off. Maybe there's a low voltage box there without a back. Maybe we can see inside there in that direction. It's worth a shot, right? It'll just take a minute.
All right.
All right, guys, we took off the cover plate for the garage door opener wiring. Kind of hoping this might be a low voltage box. In other words, a low voltage box wouldn't have a back on it. We could see into the ceiling space above the drywall. Long shot, but it was worth it. Or maybe no box at all, right? I've seen these just screwed to the drywall. But we do have a box there. So I got like three options to get my cable from here to that far wall. We could just run it all exposed from here. Really don't want to do that. I don't have the material anyway. I could cut a hole in the drywall where the block is to get through the block. I don't want to do that because I don't want to patch drywall and then repaint because it'll never match, right? So Rad had a great idea. What if we remove this box? That's easy to do. We'll show you how. Then we're this much closer, like over 2 feet. We're that much closer to the block, and I have a 6-foot drill bit. I can get right here and I can drill through that block and then pull our cable. And the other thing removing the box does for us, it allows us to see down there to make sure we're not drilling into a pipe. So Rad, I think next step, Let's remove this box and see what's in our way. So that's a nail-on box, right? 2 nails. So I didn't bring anything to cut nails with, but I do have my hacksaw because I got to cut the wire mold with it. This is an old green Lee. Look at that old beaut, huh? And I can actually turn this into a jab saw. Usually you could take this blade off, but I have extra blades, so I'm going to put one in here. And see that screw right there? I'm going to loosen it, and that is made to capture hacksaw blade. Also a perfect use for a broken blade, right? Just put a broken blade in there. And you could actually, I imagine, just push that all the way back and store it in the handle.
Nice.
Ready to go. But I'm gonna stick it out just a little bit. You wouldn't want to do that, right? You want it short because you're gonna have a short stroke when you're trying to saw those nails. And I'm actually gonna give myself a little more. Tighten this. And now I got a little jab saw. Let's go try it out. All right, ready to extract this box. I'm gonna pry it away from the joist a little bit with this pry bar just so I can get the blade in there. Sometimes you don't need to pry it out, but this one's pretty tight. I heard it move and I saw it move. Get the other side.
Nice.
All right, I think I got that. Now, almost always on a hacksaw, you're cutting on the push stroke. And I put this blade in, so I'm cutting on the push stroke. But I've been known to put this blade and this blade the other way, so I'm cutting on the pull stroke. Just don't think you always have to cut on the push. Sometimes you want to cut on the pull. All right, so I'm in. There's my nail. Well, there's my nail. I can tell I'm cutting metal. So hopefully it's a nail, not a copper pipe. But I've done this a million times. I'm already through. See, that was so easy, right?
Nice.
The nails were really soft. Now I'll catch this other side. So the blade bent a little, but you know that's because I'm not supported on the other end. But you just got to be careful, take your time. And now I should be able to grab this box and pull it straight down. Look at that. And then I'll show you the nails I cut, in case you're not familiar with this type of box. Here we go. There's the 2 nails we cut. We'll just slide this down out of our way. We'll deal with all that later, because now I want to see what's over there. Take a look at that block and see what kind of plumbing's in our way. What do you think, right? Put a phone up here?
Yeah.
Let me grab my phone. Okay, guys, trying to get through that block without going to the storage unit for more tools. So we realized this cable right here for the garage door opening, this little wire, it has to go through the block. So in my truck, I keep this borescope that Klein Tools sent me. And you can see we have the camera end in there, and there's the hole through the block right there. Now, it is 31 inches away from this opening in the ceiling. And I could nail that if I had my glow rods with me, but I don't. So I think I can nail it with the fish tape.
We're gonna watch you on this screen.
We're gonna watch you on the screen, and let's see how good I am. Where's the fish tape?
There it is.
Am I over the strap? It doesn't matter, does it?
You're in the insulation.
Okay.
There you go.
Still in the insulation?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna take some of this bend out of it.
All right. Oh, you almost had it. All right, you're right by it, a little higher.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
And if we get this...
Oh, a little higher. Oh, so close. Oh, yeah. Oh.
I should just keep my glow rods in my truck. If I have a borescope in my truck, well, I don't have the glow rods in the truck.
Boom.
Oh.
You got this.
This reminds me of the...
Push.
Lost video. Okay, I'm not gonna move. Get video back.
All right.
All right.
All right.
We're through. We fished through that hole. So the fish tape wasn't working at all, and I don't have my glow rods with me, but I had this piece of wire. That is to hang acoustical ceilings with, and I had a 4-foot piece in the storage box on my truck. So we are through. So now we're gonna tape the fish tape to that, and then we can push it all the way to that far wall. We'll drill a hole through the ceiling and try to find that wire. Like I said, this is gonna be the hardest part, but sometimes fishing kind of drives you crazy, but sometimes you get successful. We're halfway there, let's keep going. Guys, we have reviewed and installed a ton of these water drop RO filters in the past year, but we get a lot of comments saying, why not just buy bottled water? Because these are really expensive. Well, in my opinion, the water quality you get from these RO filters from Water Drop is way better, it tastes better, and you don't have to deal with all that plastic waste. Today I want to introduce you to Water Drop's most cost-effective, under-sink, remineralization RO water filter. This is their model T3, and this Black Friday, it's available for the incredible price of $199. It has a 9-stage filtration process that removes heavy metals, chlorines, and all the other bad stuff that we don't want to put in our bodies. Plus, it remineralizes the water for better health and better taste. And installation is really easy, and so is replacing the filters. So if you're tired of hauling around heavy cases of water and dealing with all those empty plastic bottles, check out the Water Drop T3 RO water filter. And this Black Friday, they have an awesome deal going on, up to 42% off. And if you use the code STUDPACKBF at checkout, you'll get an additional 5% off for a total cost of right around $199. An awesome deal. Thanks so much to Water Drop for sponsoring our video and providing clean, great tasting drinking water. We really appreciate it, but let's head back to work. All right, we switched to my Klein fiberglass fish tape. It has this really flexible leader on the end right here. So it'll help us to bend as we pull through the other side. So now, I should just be able to push the wire. There we go, and the fish tape. All right, guys, we pushed, and then we can hear it hitting the far wall. All right, now we gotta go find it over there. Okay, guys, ready for our next challenge. Now, this line right here represents where I'm gonna put the screws for this base plate for my wire mold box. So that base plate's gonna go right there. Now that's on a stud. I got 2 top plates up here and I got a stud right there. Now how do I know that? Well, this magnet is telling me that's where the joist is. And then I wanted to know exactly where the edge of this stud was. So you see me do this before, a push drill, because here I'm hitting a stud because the bit only goes in that far. But if I go just a 1/4 inch to the left, it bottoms out because I'm clear of the stud. So that's the edge of the stud, came back a 1/2 inch, and that's where that line is right there. That line is gonna be where we screw this plate to the wall. And now we have to drill a hole in the ceiling for our Romex to come through. Once it's out of the ceiling, we're gonna drill a hole in the top of this box with this bit made for that. And again, I'm favoring the left side of everything so I clear this joist. Once we get that position made, we'll cut a hole in the drywall and fish that wire through here, hopefully, and then pull our Romex. Think we got it, Red?
Yeah, I think we got it.
Yeah, I think the hard part's done, maybe. Well, let me mark this and we will pull some Romex. And now we're gonna drill that hole in the top of this box. And I was going so slow because I'm holding it by hand. Not the safest thing. And if you saw that spring on the pilot, oh, that's hot. The spring on the pilot bit auto ejected the hot plug.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. Now this will snap in there, ready for our Romex, and we're going to use this box to transition between the Romex and the THHN we run in the conduit. All right, moment of truth. We drilled a hole here, obviously, and then I got a pretty big bend on my metal fish tape with the hook. So I'm going to go in this way because the wire is between this joist and the one over here. And then we're going to be listening and watching. We're going to be watching that orange fish tape. It starts to move. I know I'm hitting it. And I just got to hook it and drag it over to this hole. Then we can grab it and pull it through. All right, Brad. Let's see.
First try, you got this.
First try. I feel like the wire we pushed through is sitting on top. So I want to bend this and drag it across the top of the drywall and hook it. All right, we're not hooking it, so let's see what's going on up there with our borescope. It actually has a light in it. Oh, is that it? Did you see it?
Yeah, it looked white though.
Yeah.
But it does have this light shining on it. All right, you see movement?
Yep, there it is. Can you see that?
Nice, yeah, right on.
So it's gotta be right here at the end. I'm actually gonna pull this out. I got it.
Oh, it's the red wire.
No, I got them both.
Oh, nice.
I got them both. I caught 2. All right, where are those?
Needles?
Yes, sir. I knew it felt different. So these guys, look at that. Woo! I'm gonna go in here. All right, I'm on the wire that we pushed in. All right, I'm gonna take the fish tape off. No, I don't want to do that. I'm going to leave the fish tank on and hook it. And then I'm going to push back away from me until I see the end. And then I can grab the end and pull it down.
Yeah.
It was way in there. Oh, there it is. See it?
Yep.
All right. Oh, nice.
Oh, victory.
You take that.
Yep, and give you more slack
Yes,
over
sir.
here.
We got it, dude. Woo!
Nice job. Nice.
Yeah, we did it. I'm not even going to take a break and celebrate. I want to get that Romex pulled. I'm going to cut this wire off. We'll attach the Romex here, pull it back into the box. We got it now. Nice job. Fisherman. Now we're going to use our diagonal cutters. And we're going to cut like that. And we'll show you why in a second. At an angle. So what I just did, I just cut through the hot and the neutral. And I left the ground. All right. Pass the ground through my leader, and now we'll tape it. The ground's all I need. If I had the other two wires on there, it would just make this a lot more bulkier. And I cut them at an angle so they won't get caught on anything. All right, Rad, let's tape it up. Pull this cable. Okay, we're all ready to pull, Rad. You got it on your end?
Yep.
Go ahead, bud. Yep. That's all you do.
All right, going through the block. Not happy right there. Nice. Right on.
We're almost there. Now we just got to get it into that box. But that should be easy. Home stretch. We're made up here.
Nice.
Easy.
Beautiful.
Sweet. That was the hard part, gang. The rest of this project is easy. Let's mount some boxes. All right, guys, finally get to start running some wire mold. So here's the box we're going to use at the ceiling height right there. And we drilled that hole with our 7/8 bit. We're going to put a connector in there. Boom. Now we're going to run our Romex into the box. We're going to come out of our box with our wire mold conduit, Series 700. We're going to show you all about that. And we're going to make up our connection in here. So this box is transitioning from the Romex to the THHN that's going to be in the conduit. Now, a lot of you are going to say, well, just run this in the conduit. Can't do it. Manufacturer says it's not rated for that. So we're going to run individual wires, a hot, a neutral, and a ground. So now I'm going to mount the base plate right here. This screw is going to go in the top plates, and this screw is going to go in the stud. And I'm using a lath screw. I really love these. It's got a nice low profile head, and it's a wide, kind of like a washer head, so you get plenty of grip. Run it in. Our box base is secured. I got my bonding jumper on there because now we have to ground the conduit system, right? I'm going to pull the sheathing of the the Romex. Got to have at least a 1/4 inch pass there. I'm all good. Put this through the front. And it's going to look just like that. And then the box comes with these two screws. You see that, Red?
Yeah.
They're pretty special. You go through these holes into the base plate there and there. And I almost forgot, I got to knock these out. So there's two sizes. You see the two different sizes? So that's Series 500, the small one. And then the bigger one is Series 700, which is what I have. All right, guys, set in boxes. So the crosshair of the laser is going to be the middle of this box. And so we are directly under the center of the one we just did because our conduit right here, right, is going to come straight down out of the middle of that box and feed into the middle of the top of this box. Mark the holes. All right, we'll mount this one the same way with the same screws, and then the other two will be to the left and the right on this line. Can't measure from the floor because it's a garage floor, sloped towards the street. We got the other two base plates mounted, and we even put this piece of conduit right here. And we got a mounting strap in the middle. We're going to show you all of this with the horizontal runs. So how do we know how long to cut this? It's pretty easy. Come in close, Rad. You see this tab right here? That locks onto our conduit, and that crease right there is our measuring point. So we'll measure from there to the corresponding tab on that one, and cut our conduit, Series 700, to length with a hacksaw on the tailgate of our truck. And of course, we got mounting clips for it, and you can also see right here, the hardware kit comes with this bushing. See that nice little rounded bushing right there? It prevents the wire from catching the edge of this conduit. I filed it after I cut it with the hacksaw, but that makes it nice and smooth. So this is the drop from the first one. Look at that. Cool, I can return one piece of conduit, 62 and 7. All right, guys, using a 24 tooth blade, 24 teeth per inch. Way better than that last one, huh?
Yeah.
And I just have a little triangular file. Get in there, clean up the edges. There's the strap for the middle to support the conduit in the middle of a span. We got our laser set up, that's our center line, and there's a stud. Lathe screw, nice low profile. Run this guy in. Get it straight. Perfect. There's what the little bushing looks like. I'm just going to slide it in. Right there. I've already got the one in the other end. I want to slide the wire mold on that tab. Just like that. I'll get it started right here. Actually, I can push that on. I'm just going to pound it in with my fist. Just like that. Catch this other side. Put the slot in there. It looks straight.
Yeah.
All right, and that is it, guys. One more over there, and we can start running wire. All right, guys, got our 2 horizontal runs on. Now we're ready to start pulling some wire. So number 14 stranded. We got it rigged up on the ladder. Usually I would use a piece of EMT through here, but I don't have any, so I just use my 12-inch bit holders, put them together. So I'm going to be up on the ladder. Brad's going to be down here. And it's such a short run, he'll be able to push this, and I'll grab it there. We'll make it up, put the cover plate on the top, install our 3 receptacles. All right, guys, we're going to wire this up using Wagos. I've got a 3-slotter here for the grounds, and this is where Wagos, in my opinion, really shine, because I have the number 12 solid for the bonding jumper to the box. I have number 14 solid from the Romex coming from our power over there, and then I've got number 14 stranded for the rest of our system. So I can just put this in there. Boom, there's the number 12 solid. There's the number 14 solid. And here's the number 14 stranded. And we're done. Easy as that. I'll get these folded in there, and then we'll do the hots and the neutrals. And if you want to wrap tape around those so these don't come up, that's your call. I've never felt the need to do it, but I understand why you would. Here we go. Let's put the cover plate on there, work our way down. I'm going to cut these off, leaving myself plenty of slack, about 1 foot. I know it's more than I need, but that's what I like. Now, do the same thing. We'll run these 2 horizontal branches, left and right. We can install our 3 boxes. All right, guys, all our wires now ran. We finished the 2 outlets on either side, and now all we have left is the one in the middle. Now, a couple important points. Bonding jumper right here. We have that at all 4 base plates. You can't just do one, you got to bond it at each base plate. And then I've removed the 3 knockouts on this box. And these pliers like that work great. You just grab it, bend it, and it pops off. So let's put this one on. And I know I've been calling that conduit. The proper name is raceway. All right, everybody's out. And then when you put this box in, it clamps down right here and holds those down. Let me get my glasses on. We'll mount the box, put in the last receptacle. Now we're going to fold all these into the box. And if you've never used stranded wire before, this is where it really shines. Just lays in there really nicely. So I've already got this stranded strip. So here's something you may not ever have realized If you look on the left side right here, it says number 14 and number 12 and then solid. But on the right, it says 16 and 14 on the stranded side. Why does it have 14 on this side on the upper hole, but 14 on the other side on the lower hole? That's because stranded wire is bigger than solid. So if you use the solid side to strip stranded wire number 14, you would actually cut into the wire. So 14 solid, 14 stranded. Time for the receptacles. We're using the Leviton Edge receptacles. Pretty cool product. I actually had the same idea and started the patent process and then found out I was 3 months behind 3 electrical engineers at Leviton who had the patent on this before I did. So kind of crazy, but I can still consider it mine, and I like using them. And they're pretty cool because there are no exposed metal parts on the outside. Once it's wired, you can grab it completely. No metal, except for the yoke, of course. And then it works just like a WAGO. Open those up, put in your wires, close them, and you're all wired up. Let's do one. And then on these Leviton edges, they have this little tab right here on the bottom. That's for drywall. So if you cut the drywall too big, that'll still flush out on your drywall. But I'm going to break them off because we're in a metal box and they're made to be broken off just like that. I'm just giving those a little pre-twist because I don't want a strand hanging out like that and then hanging out right here at the hole. So I'll just make sure it's tightly twisted. I'm going to put it in there. It bottoms out and you're done. How easy is that? Let's put this in here, put the cover plate on, and the last thing we got to do is wire it up where we started. And before I screwed this down, I wanted to show you one more feature of the box. See that slot up there? That's for this little baby screw on the cover plate that sticks out just a little. Now I'll push the cover plate off the box. I think we've all been in a situation like that before. So let's tighten this up, put the cover plate on. A couple more things before we put the cover plate on there. I know that this self-bonds the receptacle to the box, and I don't need the ground wire. It's just how I was taught, and I always add the ground wire. I don't want to trust that screw to maintain the continuity of the ground. The other thing is we get a lot of comments, hey, that needs to be a ground fault receptacle. Well, it's ground fault protected by an upstream ground fault receptacle. So just don't assume if you see a receptacle like this without the buttons, that is not ground fault protected. And you can ground fault protect a receptacle 3 ways. A breaker, which you've seen us do at Rad's house, an upstream ground fault receptacle, or an upstream dead front. A dead front looks just like this and it has the ground fault buttons, just no slots for plugs. All right, that's my lesson. Let's put this on and get this project finished. All right guys, gonna wire this all up, WAGOs and a jumper. A couple things wrong here though. This ground is going the wrong direction around that screw and there's no wire nut up here. So we'll fix all that, get this all tucked away. I'll fix this later and we'll turn the power back on. Hey Rad, I need a couple of jumpers, bud.
All right. Can you just use this cut-off Romex?
So that's actually a great question. So I have, right? Those make perfect jumpers when we're wiring up Romex in a box. But in this situation where we use THHN over there, I wouldn't want to switch to Romex here, and here's why. On Romex, the wire identification is on the jacket. Once you remove this, the wire no longer has identification. Unlike the wire over there, which has identification on it. I say that because the NEC wants the wiring identified.
Gotcha.
You remove this, you remove the identification. But the THHN, of course, has all the identification right on there. All right, Rad, turn the breaker on. We're wired okay there. We're gonna check them all. Wired okay there. And there, check. You'll hear the ground fault behind Rad trip. There it goes. Woo! So we'll reset it. So sure hope you enjoyed the video. We've been waiting to do this a long time. If you're running your like button off an extension cord and you're tired of it, now you can do it with wire mold. You don't have to run MC or EMT or try to get the Romex in the wall. Cool system. Hope you enjoyed the video. Rad and I had a great time making it for you. We'll see you right back here in the next one. Have a great Thanksgiving.